The Comoros Islands, scattered off the coast of Africa in the Indian Ocean, is not your typical destination spot. If you want to drop off the face of the earth for a bit, or if you want outrageous time, would then book your flight now. You won't find the standard hallmarks of tourism here. This is as remote gets. Those who make it here will tell you it lives up to the paradise hype. Banana and palm trees, ylang ylang, and the scent of cloves on the air. The people are Muslim, with a heavy Swahili influence, is rather traditional, meaning that there's no alcohol and dresses modest. Its odd nickname, Cloud Coop Coop, comes from its history of over 20 coups since gaining independence in 1975. There are 4 developed islands offering white sandy beaches, hiking in rainforests, giant fruit bats, volcanoes, and more, because there is a lack of tourism infrastructure. Moli is the smallest and yet the most fascinating of the Comoros Islands. When people talk about wanting to drop off the face of the earth, this is the place. There are very few inhabitants on the island, and thanks to this it's largely undeveloped and completely wild, to the point that it's a little backwards, a bit stuck in the past. You'll find the country's only national park here, Park Mer in Moli. Nature lovers will want to check out the craggy islets that dot the island. The locals call it Mwali or Moili, and it's the largest city on Moli is Fomboni, a quiet and unassuming little place. There's a nameless main street through town, a market, and a jetty worth checking out. The locals here tend to be more reserved than their neighbours on Anjouan and Grand Comore, but they'll give you a friendly welcome for sure. It's a great place to watch the locals be local and get a sense of what life is like on Moli. The locals call it a Juani, and this Comorian island is the stuff that fantasies are made of. Anjouan is nicknamed the Pearl of the Comoros because of its Robinson Crusoe qualities. If you want remote, unspoiled, and gorgeous, you'll find it here. You'll find old Arab plantations and the scent of cloves and ylang ylang on every breeze. You'll find the locals hardworking and intensely proud of their little island. Travel up into the highlands for cooler air and to watch the mists roll across the Rhine. At 60 kilometers across and 20 kilometers wide, Grand Comore is the largest of the Comoros Islands. It's also the most developed with the most stable economy. One of the most popular towns, Moroni, is located here. As you travel the island, you'll find again and again that the dark and intriguing solidified lava and the contrasting whites and beaches make a stunningly beautiful landscape. Grand Comore is a great spot for honeymooners or couple hoping to get away from their busy lives. Most of population lives on the west coast, but if you travel south you'll find a lovely agricultural landscape filled with vanilla, coconut, banana, and cassava plantations. The largest active volcano in the world is Mount Carthalalake on Grand Comore. It stands at just over 2,300 meters and has consistently erupted every 11 years since the beginning of the 19th century. The last eruption was in 2005 and lasted 14 days. The volcano did quite a bit of damage in 2005, but the country has recovered nicely. You'll love the bizarre yet spectacular landscape that the lava creates, and it makes the hiking rather unique. You can climb to the volcano's rim, but be warned, it's a difficult 2-day trek. The capital of Comoros is Moroni, located on Grand Comore Island. There's a romantic and distinctly Arabian vibe here, and you'll feel like you're in a different world compared to the rest of the islands. The narrow streets are filled with quaint shops and cafes, and the locals wear traditional dress. Enjoy the Volvo market and pick up some great souvenirs, spices, and handicrafts from local artisans. Check out the Medina near the Friday Mosque and get lost in the winding alleyways. Like the rest of the Comoros, there aren't a lot of traditional tourist attractions, but the beauty Mayotte is probably the most traditional tourist spot in the Comoros. Still governed by the French, many think that the island is overpriced and out of sync with the remote paradise vibe the rest of the island have, but you'll find unbelievable turquoise waters, white sand, and top-shelf snorkeling, sailing, and diving here. Not surprisingly, there's a large expat community here, and there's a bit of tension between the Mahorais and the other islanders, but thanks to French rule, there's a great deal of stability and infrastructure here. This is where you'll find most of the expats in Comoros. The island has 2 villages, Elabotwa and Pamanzi. You can visit the volcanic crater of Gionija, the Rock of Jauzi, a less dramatic version of the Rock of Gibraltar, and the archaeological site known as Bagamayo, where artifacts from a 10th century Shirazi settlement continue to be discovered. It's a bit high-end for budget backpackers, but if you're able to splurge, you can't go wrong with the amazing French cuisine that you'll find on the island. Think crab and frog legs. Mamuju is where you'll find the restaurants, businesses, and shopping on Mayotte. It's a large town and many areas are neglected, but this is still the best place for shopping and eating on. The highest mountain on Onju is Mount Etingi. It stands at almost 1,600 meters and it's a challenging trek to the top. Because of the weather, the peak is often cloud-covered, but if you're one of the lucky ones, and the cloud clears, you'll get a phenomenal view of the 4 islands in the archipelago. To reach the top you'll hike through lush green forest and have a chance to spot some. Please subscribe to the channel and press like.